of leather. This is how all of our collars start out. This is actually a half a hide. This particular one is Latigo Russet, and this is how it arrives, rolled up. So this is the process of how we strap it out to turn it into collars. Okay, now to edge the hide, every leather crafter I'm sure has their own tools that they decide they want to use or that they prefer to use. We have a strap keeper, okay. We have a strap cutter, a head knife, this little compass thing, I always forget the technical name of it, stylus, something, compass. I have a piece of straight board that came from one of my kids' old bunk beds. And what we're going to use this for is to put an edge. You get that? We're going to put a straight edge along the furthest part of the hide so we can start using the strap cutter, because how it is right now, all curvy, this would not, that would produce curvy straps, and well, we're not a curvy collar company. So that's the next step, is edging the hide. Okay, the first step is to take the board, and this is the line that I typically do it from, which on this part of the hide is the back. It's the strongest part of all of the leather. So we start this way, and then we work our way outward, which down here is considered belly, the belly part of the leather, which is way more stretchy. We typically use this side for things like, somewhere around in here for things like more comfortable leashes, short leads typically, and further down for like bracelets and cuffs, just because it's much softer and more comfortable, whereas from about this part up is the strongest part of the leather, which is considered, again, like I said, the back, and we use these for collars because it's the most strongest, most durable piece. So we line it up. We're going to want to get as close to the edge as possible, so we can get a nice straight line without wasting the least amount of leather as possible is what we want to waste. Sometimes this I can turn it into like key fobs or cuffs or bracelets or something, or top layers. Just really depends on the hide, because it is a natural product, it is irregular. So we're going to go ahead and start cutting, or edging rather, the hide. And I just use this. They make tools that are more sophisticated. Just way back when I started leather, I used what I had because we didn't have a huge budget, being extremely young with small children. And this worked just as good, and if it ain't broke, why fix it, right? So this is what I use now, to this day. Alright, so this is the tricky part, because you have to do your best to keep a line. And typically I do this on the floor because it allows me to actually get my full body weight on this to hold it in place. I've only recently started doing it on this island because we haven't had an island to do it on the majority of the life of Bully Mart. So it's easier to cut the straps up here though than it is on the floor. So it's really as simple as just scoring the leather like this. Now what you see here is the score line that we just did, and it's fairly straight, and this will allow us to get a good straight edge. Alright, so here we are. I already showed you the straight edge that I put on it, or the score line for the straight edge. And now what I'm going to do, this board here didn't cost me anything outside of the purchase from my kids' bunk bed, which they destroyed. So I turned this into my edger, but it has a dual purpose because it provides the straight line guide for me. And now what I do is I use it kind of like a cutting board underneath, and I'll show you. You'll see why this is important. I put it under the line like this. And here's where our head knife comes in. So now I'm going to actually take the head knife and freehand with my score guide the actual straight edge. And I always typically start it to give me a nice little start. And this part can go really wrong really quickly. Even to this day, sometimes I'm distracted by my kids or the dogs or something else going on, and I'm not paying attention to my line, and I go severely off course, and then I have to kind of Sometimes it's salvageable, but then sometimes I have to redo the whole straight edge a little bit further in, and it just wastes more leather, and I hate wasting leather. So, but this is what we're going to go ahead and do all the way down. Hopefully I don't screw up on camera because it's rather embarrassing. Don't want to jinx myself and say I haven't screwed one up royally in a while, but I guess I just did. Say that. Alright, so you'll see here I'm coming to the end of my board because it's not super long, so I just move it down a little bit to help me finish off the piece. And you see what I mean by underneath it acts as a cutting board. If you don't do that, you're going to screw up whatever surface you're cutting the hide on. And in my case, how I realized I should use this as a double whammy was because I was doing this on tile floor, and I dulled my knife pretty quickly, very, very quickly actually, the very first cut I did, and it's no fun to have to resharpen it every time I need to strap out a hide because I strap out hides a lot. So, all right, well you see how I did it super deep there. Now come back over here. Watch out, baby. And now the next step. Sometimes I don't go too deep, but I should have gone deep enough to where I can come through now. Actually, this might need one more pass. The second pass is usually when I really screw it up because I'm going so fast that all it takes is a little twitch of the hand to really go the wrong way. But then this part is, you know, you do it good enough and deep enough and you can, like, butt up. Okay, now I'm done with the straight edge, and you'll see it's kind of dirty. And by that, what I mean is, like, this right here, it's kind of it's not as straight as this part right here. This part's a little chunky. That's what I call dirty. So, in it right there, and just going down the whole hide. Now the next step is going to give me a really nice clean edge, which... Okay, so the next step is taking the strap keeper and putting a clean edge on that. And how I do that is, it's adjustable up to 4 inches, which is why we make up to 4-inch wide collars. Okay, so I don't like wasting leather. So now I'm not going to do it at 1 inch or even a 1/2 inch. I'm going to take it down to a 1/4 inch. Because this is pretty much scrap. We pretty much use these straps here. Isaac, come here. Sorry about that. We pretty much use these straps to tie things up around the shop. So it's really simple. You want to get it nice and snug, 1/4 inch, and pull this to the edge. And then we're going to go ahead and do the first little strap piece here. Child holding that down for me. All right, and this right here is what that ends up being. We use this after we're going to finish strapping out the hide. We'll spare you the boringness of that, but we usually strap it out to about right here. This is a really small hide, so we usually get way more straps than just this. We'll strap it out to probably like right around where the belly part starts, and then we'll roll it and tie it with this and put it up in the workshop shelf. But yeah, so that's what it turns into, and now you can see it has a really nice clean edge. No fuzzies, it's not dirty, and it's straight enough to work with for making our first collar strap, which is going to turn into one of those collars. Just for demonstration purposes, cut one of our next collars that has been waiting on this russet. this strap will probably turn into 2 collars depending on the collar size. Sometimes it's only 1, but usually we can get at least 2 collars out of a good strap. Of course, that piece isn't going to be in there. That's a good example right there. Leather is a natural product, so it's no 2 pieces are exactly the same. There's a lot of inconsistencies, scars, cuts, as gross as it sounds, bug bites, which produce like little divots in leather. This one doesn't seem to be too bad. There's a little bit of wrinkling on here, but it is a natural product, and that's just a good example of a defect in it. So what we'll do is we'd go ahead and, I'm not going to do it right now because I don't want to mess up the base, but we'd go ahead and cut that piece off, and this would turn into probably like a key fob. We're pretty obsessed with not wasting leather around here, so we try to use as much of the actual material as possible. But hope that gave you guys a better idea on how we turn one of these into a collar or a strap that turns into your collar. The next videos will show more details about actual collar making. Okay, so that half a hide yielded 4-inch straps, a 3-inch strap, a 2-inch strap, and 2 1.5-inch straps. And then we have the remaining part here. And like I was saying about that 1/4-inch piece that we cut, we use it to hold the remaining hide. There kind of looks like a lot left, but it's primarily belly leather that's left. There might be 1 good strap left in this batch to use for actual collars. The rest, like I said, will get used for either wraparounds, cuffs, bracelets, or depending on the quality, comfortable pull leashes, pull tab leashes, or short leads. So that's that on strapping a hide. If you have any questions, please, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments below about this process, and hopefully I can get those answered for you. And subscribe to our channel to get more videos delivered to your feed and inbox about collar making and leather work. Thank you for watching.